Welcome back. In this episode, I begin work on Wetware Circuits. Organic, absurdly complicated, and made from mincemeat. To make it work, I need a sterile clean room. So while the filters craft in the background, I build half a lab and have a breakdown over titanium. This is Star Technology. Let's get into it. So how do I even start to explain this? The ultimate goal of what we want to achieve is getting hold of this, the Wetware printed circuit board. To make that, we need a Wetware circuit board. Now that's made from a few things we don't have. So we've got the multi-layer 5-bit reinforced circuit board. Petri dish, we don't have that yet. LEV electric pump, yes. IV sensor, IV circuits, niobium titanium foil, and then this sterilized growth medium. Petri dish, it's pretty simple. Just some sort of plastic in a fluid solidifier with a casting mold for cylinders, and you get a Petri dish. No need to worry about that. The problem is this sterilized growth medium. This is going to be a multi-step side quest of epic proportions. I've looked at it and there's so many parts to it. So it starts off simple. You just take raw growth medium to turn it into sterilized growth medium in a sterile clean room. Then it starts to get a bit more complicated. How do we make raw growth medium? We need mince meat, salt, calcium, agar dust, and mutagen. 3 things we don't have. Are we making like a pasta sauce or something? Like mince meat, salt, calcium? Okay, agar. Yeah, we're making... Okay. Excellent. We just need some tomato in there. And let's look at agar dust. Agar dust is made in an autoclave in a sterile clean room from gelatin. Gelatin is made in a centrifuge from gelatin mixture, also in a sterile clean room. Gelatin mixture is made from collagen dust. Collagen dust is made from mincemeat, bone meal, and sulfuric acid. A lot of steps there in the sterile clean room. That's just to get the agar. Mutagen, also in a sterile clean room. Enriched bacterial sludge. To make that, we need bacterial sludge. To make that, we need biomass of bacteria. Biomass, we know about that. That's pretty simple in a brewery. Biochaff and water. Same applies to bacteria. So biochaff and distilled water. To make biochaff, we're going to have to macerate plant balls. And to make plant balls, we're going to compress potatoes. So there's loads and loads of steps, loads of different side quests and things that we need to do. But one thing that is very clear from what I was just reading is that we're going to need a sterile clean room. To do that, we're going to need to upgrade the filter casings in our clean room to be sterilizing filter casings. To make them, we need large polybenzamide fluid pipe, a ZPM emitter, item filters, a black light, ZPM electric motor, Naquita alloy rotor, tritanium frames, which we have only just got access to tritanium. So this is why we couldn't do this before. Now, everything there is pretty simple. What about the black light? Tungsten carbide, plates, laminated glass. Yeah, okay, we just need to encode this recipe. First things first, because we're going to need to upgrade this thing up here. Turns out this is a 13 by 13 minus 1 size, so that's 168 sterilizing filter casings we're going to need. So that's going to take a little while. We might as well get that started while we're proceeding with the rest of the build. I'll encode those recipes and do that. Okay, so they're all installed and ready to go. So I should be able to craft one of these, hopefully. That looks good. Let's start. It'll take a while. Just want to make sure everything's going to work with that before I order the other 167. We are going to have to build a lot of stuff. My plan is to build a lot of them in this place here, well, because I have to. I've got a bit of space back here. Oh, that's good. Actually, that didn't take very long. Let's order the other 167. Oh, hang on. That actually means that it requires more europium than I have stocked. Okay, well, that's cool. We just need to make this a larger number. This had actually stopped because it was on passive. So 1,024 is more like what we're going to need. That's a little oversight. I probably should have let that build up more. How much are we short? 92. I guess I could start making it now. Let's just make 100 now. I'll come back to it. Yep, cool. Oops. I guess we're out of carbon then. Carbon is used in a lot of processes in my factory, and the problem is it's crafted on demand, and it ticks away like that. So what happens is, when I go to do a craft that requires it, it gets confused because it'll say, oh, okay, there's 30 there, that's fine, the recipe, and then you go start it, and it's already dropped to, say, 28 because it's grabbed a few more. I can't even remember what's using it. Something in the system is using my carbon. It's a bit of a pain. It's a pain that I've created myself, though, so 4,096, and I'll make them in batches of 256 and turn that on. It's quick to make. That's the thing. It's just, it confuses the system a lot. There we go. It's all starting to come through now. There's a lot of different ways you can make carbon dust. Yeah, I just electrolyzing charcoal dust because I've got so much charcoal dust. Yeah, so it's 1-to-1. It's pretty quick though, so it just spams out carbon. There's a better way to make it from diamond dust though. Diamond dust and electrolyzer makes 64 carbon. It's slower, but you know, obviously it's LV, so it's fine. It's just a much more efficient process. Oh well, let that go. Let's order those sterilizing casings. Let's do 100. Actually, let's make it 99 so it's an even number because I've got that one spare. Okay, there we go. That's started. All right, well, let's look at where we're at. Based on what I was saying before, this is the entire tree. So we've got to get mincemeat. We won't worry about that right now because that's relatively simple. It's just like a fishing thing that we need to set up. But the question is there any point doing anything else unless we have the mincemeat ready? It's a little bit overwhelming. There's so much to do. I'm not sure where to start. I could start encoding recipes. Let's do that. Okay, so start with this one. So that's the Wetware printed circuit board. Got the cupric chloride, the niobium titanium foil. That's good. Okay. Interestingly, that doesn't have to be in a sterile clean room or anything. Then we got this one, this monster, which is the cause of our issues. If we were to encode that and then do the petri dish next, then that would mean we only have that sterilized growth medium to deal with. So that looks pretty good. Now we need to create that casting mold for cylinders. How do we actually make use of that? That's in a fluid solidifier. Okay, well, I got one of those. But how does it know which one to use? That's something I'm not sure about, because the casting mold for rotors is a good example. It goes into the input bus, but the hatch is where the stuff comes out. So how does it know which one to use? I feel like that's not going to work. That's all right. I'll make another fluid solidifier. I don't think I've got any spares. If I do, they're probably low tier. No, I don't. So I don't have to make one. Should we do LUV? ZPM. How hard is it to make that? Okay, let's make one of those. Okay, in the meantime, I guess I can put these circuit board things in. So where do they need to go? And a chemical reactor. So it's probably in here then. In this guy. Yep, okay, just need to upgrade that. So put that in there, put that in there. That's good. I guess we can move on to the next bit. This is where we start to need the sterile clean room. We have ZPM power, so it's actually easier to just run ZPM power everywhere. I might go away and just encode some recipes for all the different machines we're going to need. Because we've got fluid heaters, mixers, centrifuges and stuff like that. I'll encode those up for ZPM and come back. I've gone away and encoded all of those machines. Just going through them, we've got the fluid heater, a brewery, chemical reactor, distillery, autoclave, centrifuge, macerator, compressor, and mixer. They're all the machines that we're going to need. We'll set this up into a molecular assembler, and then we can request some of these machines. And there we go. Full set. Excellent. Network is pretty busy at the moment, building lots of stuff. Those sterilizing filter casings actually turned out to be a lot harder to craft than I thought because of things like niobium titanium. We got a lot of ingots required there. Osmiridium, trinium, the palladium. It's going to take a little while to clear that backlog. A lot of the machines are just going flat out. And this is already upgraded as much as it can be. This is UHV. It's pretty crazy. And then over here, we've got the alloy blast smelters. This one here is pretty busy. Oh, hang on. Okay. It's got a power problem. Why has it got a power problem? Is that... Oh, hang on a sec. Have we started to run out of power? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's empty. All right, I guess we're finally using too much. I need to build some more of those solar panels. I'll do that and I'll come back, I guess. System's going to be working pretty badly for a little while. Okay, well, the power crisis is solved for the moment. It's keeping it at bay, really. It's not actually going to be completely solving it. But if you have a look at that, that line there is going up. So we are actually power positive now. We're producing 20 million RF per tick more than we're consuming, which is pretty good. I did that by adding more solar panels. We're making some more still just to increase that. Sterilising filter casings are coming along. They're going to take a little while. What I've done is I've created a whole new gargantuan flux storage here and set it to be the priority. So what that means is when we're filling, it comes in here first. And I think when we're emptying, it leaves here first. So this will actually give me a visual indicator of how we're going power-wise, because the whole power system is tucked away over here. I didn't realize we were using up our power quicker than we were replenishing it, because I don't come to this little corner of the base very often, especially since I've been working at the top there so much. Because it's all wireless, it doesn't matter where we put it in the base. So I thought I'd just put one of them here. Lets me check up on the power. No worries there. I can't even remember what I was doing just before that happened. I think I was checking on how the dragon steel and all that was going. Where are we at? Like, what am I supposed to be working on? Casting mold for cylinders. I remember now. Got so far down a rabbit hole with that power and so distracted with the side quest, I forgot we were actually trying to create this. So we needed to create a fluid solidifier. All the parts for that got built. Just do a bit of that. So it's just those ZPM electric pumps. They're not going to be coming anytime soon. The assembly line is full. It is very much working hard on all the other components, because this is as quick as we can make it at the moment. We're actually not too far off having this all crafting. Okay, cool. There we go. And the second one, yeah, because I accidentally crafted 2 lots. But I can put these into here and create the fluid solidifier. Let's put it here somewhere. Pattern provider, put that casting mold in there. Whoops, let's tidy that up. Cool, okay, and let me just need to say that. I can do that. And I should be able to request one now. Yeah, okay, I think that's quick enough. So now we can make those petri dishes. Wetware circuit board, we've got everything except for the sterilized growth medium now. Good. So let's have a look at what we're going to have to do. Where's my clipboard? All right, let's fill this out. So we need to make collagen and then use that to make gelatin mixture and then gelatin dust and agar. And then separately, we need to make biochaff, bacteria, biomass, bacterial sludge. Then that makes mutagen. And then that allows us to make raw growth medium. We cook that into sterile growth medium. And that's it. That's a lot. And that's not even counting the fact that we need to get the mince meat somehow. Okay, well, let's make agar. So to make agar, we need an autoclave in a sterile clean room, a centrifuge in a sterile clean room, a mixer in a sterile clean room, chemical reactor in a sterile clean room. So there's 4 machines there in a sterile clean room. Let's request those 4 machines. We need 1 chemical reactor, we need an autoclave, centrifuge, and a mixer. Okay, so those are the 4 machines. So let's figure out where we're going to put them. So because they're small machines, we could put them up on the 2nd level. And there'd be enough room to run power and stuff underneath. Or we could put them along the back here. Although that would be better if we need any big machines, I think. Need to make this floor a bit bigger. Let's extend this. Okay, cool. We could probably just go from machine to machine. We've got to figure out what the order is. We've got to make collagen. So collagen is the chemical reactor. I think the last step is autoclaving. So which one comes next? The mixer or the centrifuge? I think we mix and then centrifuge. Cool. All right. We're going to run power probably behind. I'll start from this corner. Put that there. Flux point on. Put it on the network and bypass limit. Drag and steel wire. That'll do. Chemical reactor there. Then into the mixer. Then the centrifuge. And then I'm just going to assume we can do that. We can start configuring this, but without the sterile clean room, that's not going to work. Can't do anything without the mince meat, which is something I didn't expect to say when I was playing a technology mod pack, to be honest. This at least gets those machines on the ground and ready to go. So then we need to make bacteria, which requires us to make biochaff. So let's make a process for making biochaff, because we're going to need a lot of it. I do know that we have some somewhere here. It's going to have to be vastly upgraded though. So that's our plant ball storage. This is being used to make ethanol. advanced distilleries and breweries and stuff, so it's very old. I could upgrade this, or maybe I just don't touch this because I don't know what it's hooked up to at the moment. I think it'd be easier just to not touch it. So we need a macerator and a brewery. I think that's what we need. How do we make biochaff? From plant balls. How do you make plant balls? From a compressor. And that's what's down here. A wall of basic compressors with all these potatoes. Okay. Let's request a compressor. Well, let's find a spot somewhere. Could just go down here somewhere. Yeah, let's do that. Put that down there. Put an energy converter, kind of like what we did upstairs. Okay. Export bus on that. Tell it to export potatoes. All right. There we go. Storage bus, like that. So that should supply the plant balls quickly enough. What do we do with them? We macerate them, right? Let's make one of those. I could just push it straight into the next one, couldn't I? Maybe I'll do that. I'm just flustered. I don't know what to do because this seems so non-technical. We're not building computers and stuff. We're working with potatoes. It's just blowing my mind at the moment. What am I even looking for here? I'm looking for a chest, like a super chest or something. So we're going to passive the production of that stuff. Put that onto there instead. Run that over. Run that over like that. Where's my macerator? There we go. Pop that in there. Making the biochaff quite quickly, which is a good thing. I'm going to need quite a lot of it. And there we go. We'll just let that go. It's only using potatoes, so that should be fine. We've got loads of potato production. All right, so that's the biochaff ticked off. Tick. All right, how do we make bacteria? All right, so biochaff and distilled water in a brewery in a sterile clean room. And then bacterial sludge is a chemical reactor in a sterile clean room. So we need a chemical reactor and also a brewery. Okay, get one of those. Yep, all good. And then we need another chemical reactor. I could put them over here. Extend this line out because they'll be feeding from one to the other. So we're making bacteria by doing those two things here in the sterile clean room. Okay, so we're going to have brewery and a chemical reactor. The brewery is going to be making the bacteria from biochaff and distilled water. And then after that, we make bacterial sludge by reacting biomass with that bacteria. So that means we can just feed the liquid across there, and we need a source of biomass. So that's something we need to do now. How do we make that? A brewery, biochaff and water. We still need biochaff for the other process. So we can't use up all the biochaff, but we can just build another distillery over here. Not distillery, brewery. That's making a liquid, so we'll put a super tank. Drop that there. Biomass is made from biochaff and water. So we can do that with one of these export buses and just expand it with a capacity card, biochaff, and just water. I'll tell that to output. And then we need a storage bus. Oh wow, look at that. That's quick. It's producing a lot. Cool. Let's partition that. Put one of those on there. Okay. So now that we have biomass, we react it with bacteria in that chemical reactor to make bacterial sludge. Cool. Okay, so those two machines will work now. So this machine here will produce bacterial sludge. So bacterial sludge, we then need to enrich it with a brewery. So I need a brewery to sit there. Let's put one of those. Enriched bacterial sludge, which we then distill to make mutagen. I didn't leave myself enough room here. I might have to just shuffle these along because they are not actually being used yet. Gives me a bit more space. There's the brewery. So that can go there because it can feed straight into that. To make enriched bacterial sludge, we react bacterial sludge with some sort of, from the looks of it, like a radioactive thing. So uranium or a different type of uranium or Naquadria. So given this is double the yield, we'll do this one. We can make tiny piles of Naquadria dust pretty easily. One Naquadria makes 9 tiny piles of Naquadria dust. So that's pretty good. And then finally, we're going to need a distillery. Put that in. They're all hooked up. Cool. Okay, looks like we drained our power again while I was otherwise occupied. How's my solar panels going? Okay, put in another set. Because clearly we're not quite there yet. There we go. Nice. Another 12 million RF per tick. That's looking a bit healthier. All right, let's request some more of those. Just for the next upgrade we have to do. Yeah, see, that's why we need to keep adding more. Because once everything starts turning on to do big craft, that starts to drain. That's all right. A few more upgrades and then we should be well into the surplus. So, okay, where are we at? We have set up these 2 sets of machines. Well, just the machines themselves. Got some passive processes creating some of that biochaff and stuff like that. So it might be time to start looking at the mince meat. To get mince meat, we need to just macerate some meat, basically. There's a few sources of meat, obviously. You could, kill some cows or pigs or something like that. Probably the most sustainable way of doing that is with fish. So how can we get fish? So here's a machine called a fisher. And this is what it looks like. In this mod pack, we only have access to 4 different tiers of them. The basic, advanced, advanced 2, and then advanced 3. We tap out at EV tier. And as it says there, it costs string to fish, consumes 1 string each time, catches something every 200 ticks, requires a 5x5 centered square of water directly below. And they're all the same except for how long it takes. So the basic fisher takes 800 ticks. The advanced fisher 3 takes 200 ticks. So that means 1 every 10 seconds. It catches lots of different stuff. Like basically, it's like normal fishing in Minecraft. You catch boots and books and all kinds of stuff. It's not always fish. So we're gonna have to do something to filter out the stuff we don't want and only sort of keep the fish. But this is pretty easy to make. 1 every 10 seconds and maybe not getting a fish is too slow. So we're gonna build more than 1 of these. All right, well, let's encode that recipe and I'll make a bunch. Maybe I'll make 10. That'll be nice and quick. It might be overkill. Nice and easy. Let's make 10. That way we get 1 a second. So we're gonna need an area where we could do the fishing. Maybe this area here. 4, 5, 6, 7. We put a fisher here, then that will work. Now, what we can actually do is have them be side by side. So what we'll do is this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we'll keep going around this. And then that will work. Okay. Actually, let's get the fishes in first. It's taking a little while to make. What's so slow about that? Titanium? We're short on titanium? What the? Hang on. What's this here? Titanium. Why is this not working? Right, it's just having a laugh at me now, isn't it? What is going on here? What is going on? I just can't wrap my head around this. This was a process that I used to have that was running continuously. So carbon, rutile, and chlorine gas every 20 seconds. No, surely not. I'm just going to ignore it and I'm going to look at that titanium trifluoride. Maybe there's a way we can use that instead because we've got so much of that. How do we use titanium trifluoride? Well, I can't even make an EV tier thing because of some silly side quests again. Gonna get me every time. Titanium trifluoride. Can we do with that? Electric blast furnace with hydrogen. 45 seconds? Ugh. I don't want to be doing this right now. I just want to be fishing. All right, I'm going to have to just figure out what's going on here. This is just blowing my mind at my incompetence here. Okay, well, I've figured out the problem, kind of. I don't know what I did. Anyway, this was a slow process. I've upgraded this all to LUV tier stuff, so this is now quicker. So each time that turns on, that's 1 extra titanium ingot that we're producing, so it's passiving a bit quicker. Whew, okay, that was super annoying. So we've got our 10 advanced fisher 3s. Cool. Now, that's what the interface looks like. We supply it some power and a bit of string, and it should start fishing once there's some water underneath. Let's get rid of this. And let's make ourselves an infinite water source. Oh my. Okay. That's a slab. I just waterlogged it underneath. Oh, now I'm stuck in the water. Oh, jeez. Jet boots don't work if you're in water. Fun fact. Nice. So we're going to need an EV, probably a 16 amp energy converter. What I might do is actually put it on the end, facing like that, and then run the cable along like this. There we go. This needs some string. See, it's doing something. Oh, there you go. It's got a cycle. It's got 10 seconds. There you go. Raw cod. Now, what is interesting is I think there must be a bug because the fisher says costs string to fish. It's not using up the string unless it's a chance that's quite low. Let's hook all these guys up. Okay. They all take a little while to get started, but you can see the sort of stuff that we're finding: raw cod, tropical fish, tripwire hooks. So we're going to need a way of storing all of these. There's so many different outputs. We can store leather, we can store puffer fish. Oh, we've got some name tag. Okay, that's cool. The problem is going to be things that are like half broken fishing rod, those type of things. So what I might do for the moment is just let that run without hooking up anything to filter and grab this and just have a look at what we get. This is exactly what I was talking about before, leather boots. So these have a partial durability and we don't want that because we can't store that. Oh, here's another example, a bow with power 3. Half dead fishing rod. What I've done, I put import buses on each of these fishing machines, hooked it up with this red cable to this drive. It's got a bunch of super storage cells in there, stuck a terminal on there. So you can see this is all the stuff that we've imported into the system. Got lots of these leather boots and things. We'll deal with that later. So we're getting a lot of fish. So I had to check the raw cod, the raw salmon, the puffer fish, and the tropical fish are what count as fish in terms of being able to turn it into mincemeat. So now we need a macerator that will do that. I wonder if we could just put it here and then have the mincemeat just go back into the same system. Okay. Do that. Put the macerator on there. Put the export bus on there. We'll expand that with my capacity card. Accelerate that. We want raw cod, raw salmon, puffer fish, and tropical fish. Oh. I forgot about the tiny piles of bone meal. That's not going to work. Why am I even doing that? Let's just get rid of this. Import bus or something on the side there. Like that. And then it'll just go into there. There we go. Look at that mincemeat. And tiny piles of bone meal. I suppose we can tell the packer to try and pull them in. Let's do that. I mean, that's tidying up after ourselves a little bit, isn't it? All right, where's my tiny piles? Is this the tiny piles? Yep. I'll put this to here. There we go. It's already doing that. So that should be empty of over here. Yep. Mincemeat. Wow, it processed all that fish really quickly. I didn't think it was going to be fast enough. So now we've got a source of mincemeat. So that is something we can tick off. It's not even on the list. Okay, just figured I said that. But what I can do, grab a piece of mincemeat for the quest. So we have made some progress because we've made mincemeat. Out of all the stuff that we've been working on so far, that's the first thing that we can tick off. That's progress. That's progress. The system's been running for a little while, and as you can see, we've gotten a lot of leather boots and fishing rods and things like that. So obviously that's filling up this ME system. I've actually put some machine controllers on here with the emitters just so that this doesn't run away. Each of these machines configured to have 4,096 mincemeat. So it's messy having to make 10 of those, but it's done the job. So that's that. But we do need to deal with this mess. So what we want to do is dispose of a whole bunch of this stuff because none of this stacks. I mean, we've got lucky with a few of these things. Some of these just happen to have produced the exact same amount of durability. So the books are kind of interesting. We might keep the books because they're useful for enchanting. So we can do that using an export bus and something called a fuzzy card. One way we have of disposing of the items is something called an item trash can. This is what it looks like. Dead simple. Stone, cobblestone, and wooden chest. So you can make one of those. Just to make sure we've got this filter right and we're not disposing of items we actually want, let's pretend that this chest is the trash can. Set up an export bus on that and add a fuzzy card and a couple of capacity cards. So now we can filter up to 9 items. Now we added the fuzzy card because we want to match for, like for example, leather boots. Without the fuzzy card, if I try and match that specific leather boots, we're going to get the ones that are exactly that amount of durability and none of the others. But we don't want that. We want all of the leather boots. So if we add the fuzzy match, it'll now start pulling in any leather boots. So if we do the same thing for a bow, should start bringing in bows. Yep. So we want to do this for real. So let's get rid of this. Put these guys away so it's not blinking away. So if we place down this item trash can, it should start voiding those. All right, so that's solved our problem in there. 56 name tags. Wow, that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's that process. So that'll keep that relatively tidy. You can see 2 of the cells are already full, but there's 3 green ones. That should be fine. Well, that was a strange episode. There was quite a few twists and turns that I was not expecting. The power issues, the titanium, not being able to build those sterile filter casings in time. That was a little bit disappointing, but we'll come back to that. I think the next episode is going to be pretty exciting. We can actually achieve all the things that we've kind of set up for ourselves in this episode. We've done a lot of the prep work, which is pretty exciting. Aside from that, yeah, just continuing on, maybe even start venturing into UV. So stay tuned for that in the next episode. Thanks for watching and cheers.